is known to be very... Do you want to look at it? Because it's like you're blinking, but I'm kind of... How about I put it like this?
Okay.
All right. So Western civilization is known for its rationality. Like we have Aristotle and Socrates and all these people who basically established the tenets of Western way of thinking. However, very few people know that all of these guys were actually, including Plato and a whole plethora of very important thinkers in the Western philosophy, the old Greek and Roman philosophy, they were initiates from ceremonies which included psychedelic plants. Most famous of these ceremonies happened every 4 years, 2 and 4 years near Athens, and it was called Eleusinian Mysteries. The place still exists. But it's just like right now there is just a remnant of a cave and everything because they were destroyed by some barbarians. No, by the Christian Emperor Theodosius. Basically stopped. Yeah. Yeah, right. So they existed for a while. Yeah. There was a giant initiation hall. It was called Telestion. And over 3,000 people could fit inside. They would take one substance, it was called kykeon. And after ingesting that substance, there was a whole ceremony. Before taking it, of course we had to do a whole fast. It would be a long, long period of taking fast and preparing for it. And then 3,000 people go into this huge hall, and then there is music, there's all kinds of ways that will enhance the experience and make it stronger. So let's see what some famous people are saying about these mysteries. So we have Aristotle, Epictetus, Euripides, Sophocles, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman statesman Marcus Tullius Cicero. All of these guys have been through these mysteries. And Sophocles, what does he say about the Eleusinian mysteries? Thrice happy are those mortals who, having seen those rites, depart from hate. For to them alone is it granted to have true life there. To the rest all there is evil. So only to people who've been through these mysteries can have actual life. All of the other people don't really live real life. They live like... And then Cicero. It's a very long. I'd rather not read everything, but basically he said from all the good things Athens, Yadian, right, gave to the world even 2,000 years ago. Athens was a very important center. None of it compares to what these mysteries, is better than those mysteries. None of it compares to the Eleusinian mysteries, to the depth. So the best, 贡献, merit, not really. The best contribution of Athens is basically circles around this. This is Cicero's saying. Anyways, so we already said about that. Okay, this is very interesting. When Stanislav Grof was doing all these thousands of LSD sessions that will last for hours, what was happening to the patients? What were they going through? They were going through several stages. The first one is biographical level. The biographical level means when the persons, they are under the influence of the LSD, and then they go through something where things from their personal life come out to be resolved. Maybe they will relieve emotions from this life, guilt, mother, father, all this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff usually comes out first. Not necessarily, but usually this stuff comes out first. Next level, and this is one of the most powerful ones. He called it perinatal domain. The Chinese is 基本出生前后矩阵，基本上跟出生的那个过程有关的。Apparently, our period while we're in the mother's womb and when we're going out during the birth is very, very powerful moment. and it gets stored in a way in our minds. We don't know how, but maybe in the cellular memory. We don't know how, but pretty much all the patients do slip into this realm, and they actually relive the birth. They re-experience the actual birth. And the process of the baby going through the cervix and coming out to is one of the most painful parts of the LSD therapy. And it's not just the LSD therapy, because after that he developed ways of how to go through these ways, through these stages without using LSD, through breathing. And finally, the third stage is the transpersonal domain. The transpersonal domain is very interesting. 超个人的境界. It's very interesting because people can experience ancestral memories from their ancestors. They can describe how their grandmother used to, grandmother used to look, what problems that they had, all kinds of stuff. Karmic, they can actually have past life recollections of things. Or they can have visions of different beings, like gods from different cultures, or they can literally encounter the void. Like people who can have like this, they call this supracosmic void, something which is beyond the universe, etc., etc., etc. Sometimes people in this state can actually have visions, can actually start seeing through bodies. Like they can start seeing through the skin. So they can start seeing your organs. They can start seeing your brain. They can start seeing your heart beating. They can start seeing the meridians. 穴道, right? So it depends. There is no real, there is no one unified way of how a person can experience this. These things usually differ, and they're different for every person. But there is this, basically like a ladder. Biographical, then birth, and then transpersonal. There's always this ladder. So how far the current, or like mostly the mainstream psychotherapy goes? How far do they go? They go pretty much mostly to the thought graphical, to the first level. They rarely reach the second level, the birth. They don't address these realms. And what happens to the people when they experience these stages? People who had asthma might get cured. Like schizophrenics, autistic children have been treated with LSD, and they have actually had big improvements. That doesn't mean that they have been cured. Like you can Google it. There are quite a few examples. So yeah, I told about the biographical. The second, the perinatal domain, is very fascinating when we experience the birth, because people go through 4 stages. The first stage is when we're in like a small embryo, and he called it amniotic universe, like literal, like floating, like a state of expansion, of being completely free, etc., etc., etc. But the second stage, when the birth starts, is usually experienced like you are being sucked into a certain vortex, and you're being pulled. And usually people at this time, they can experience like they start being swallowed by a snake. Like they have been caught in a spider web while they're on the LSD therapy. They don't really see, like a baby doesn't really have these eyes. They cannot really see. They usually experience archetypal images that are related to this second stage, like being caught in a net, being swallowed by a snake or by some giant being, etc. The third stage, this second stage can be one of the worst experiences that the client can have in relation to these holotropic states. So it can be characterized by utter helplessness, agonizing emotional and physical pain, feeling of loneliness, absurdity of life. So you see, this is, according to Stanislav Grof, where depression and all these emotional problems have their roots. But they're never addressed in most of the